Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about. All right, you're looking live at Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. Oh no, I'm sorry, I keep saying that. It's formerly Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks, now known as uh Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talks. Also Fast Cast. That's what we calling it, Fast Cast. So we back with another one as promised. Y'all know what time it is. Training camp started today, so we got the good old State of the Union from Jerry Jones and company, and there was some interesting things. We talked about it yesterday to kind of hear. We had some dominoes fall yesterday. I want to hear about your dominoes. You said you had some dominoes yesterday that you said if they failed, you was kind of going to be able to tell what kind of year this would be. So, um, so you can just talk about that. So, you want to shout out to the people before you do, and then talk about the dominoes yesterday, and then I'll take it away after that.
So appreciate you guys joining. Pretty um, fun press conference as usual. Leopard doesn't change his spots. So I was telling you, if they have learned anything, we would see a different Jerry today. But well, I would say they haven't learned. He hasn't learned. So he was the usual. It's just he's out the reservation. Steven was actually pretty good. Give him credit. So what did you think about Steven versus Jerry?
Yeah, and and I have an interesting take on that. The older I get, the more I start looking at people, and they start. I know I look older, but a lot of people start to look older that I see. And today was the first time that Steven looked like an old man to me, and I felt
Hmm.
like that was interesting. I felt like he's starting to wear his age, and he also, Steven has kind of always had that get off my lawn mentality kind of. But he doesn't, but he tries not to wear it. He tries to laugh it off and none, but we know deep down inside that he's really get off my lawn guy. But today it was like he was wearing it. Like I'm old. I'm kind of he looked a little older, and today it looked like he was just like, what I'm saying, like, listen, I'm not like, he just looked like he was telling the truth, and he looked like he was just like, get off my lawn guy,
And
like.
he didn't sound that way. I didn't see the visual. I was just listening to the audio. So yeah, so it's interesting that that's the way he looked. You know, I thought he was today was one of his better. It's kind of bad when you see a franchise and you got to call it a performance, but I thought today was one of Steven's better performances. Jerry was performative. He's
Oh
he's
yeah.
getting to the mascot stage.
When I heard him, when I was listening to him, I was saying to myself, it's like he heard you and doubled down. It's just
Yeah,
like he was extra today. He was extra talking about Landman, and he just, they going hard, and they talking about. But Jerry did make some comments that are true when he was saying stuff like, we do this all the time. I mean, they under contract. This ain't nothing new. This is a part of it. It's like, yeah, it is a part of it, Jerry. But the problem is, that's the problem, this is a part of it. That's the problem, and it's like he
30
doesn't
years.
and he doesn't see that at all. He's boasting on something that we're just like, dude, this is not. And then the media, they halfway had a decent performance. The people that we knew were going to ask the
Mm.
tough questions, they asked the tough questions. Well, they didn't ask tough questions; they just asked relevant questions to the football team and to Shoddy. But you had 75% of the media that was just
Yeah,
were asking the questions that they were paid to ask about
they
Landman.
didn't seem prepared.
They didn't seem prepared at all. And you know, what's her name was Jane? Was that Jane there?
That was
You know,
Jane.
I thought she was finna get kicked out again. Because the questions that she was asking.
Hey, let me shout out my pole mark, Stephen Okpuzor. What's up, Noob? First
Yeah,
time he's been on. I will be on the 7:30 call, but
appreciate
I
you
don't
for
know if
joining.
he's gonna be on the call, but I'll be on there. But yeah, shout out to Stephen.
Shout
He's
out,
the new pole mark, Dallas alumni.
shout
Well
out to
deserved.
the Mecca.
He's
Shout
he's
out.
uh, he, he's gonna be a historical pole mark.
That's
But
awesome.
but go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I felt like Jane was gonna get kicked out because she the stuff that she was saying. It was just like
What did she say? Because I kind of heard her question, but what did she say?
y'all always saying stuff like, yeah, she was basically saying stuff like, if y'all always say this, but what's the holdup? What's the real holdup? What's the problem? And of course, Stephen was just like, I'm not gonna go into any details about this contract. So, and then she was just like, well, this causes a problem every year. So why is this causing a problem again? And then, he was just like, she was just, he didn't have no answer for her. Besides, we knew you was gonna ask us a question like that. So I had a prepared answer for you. And just like the other guy, the brother that always asked tough questions, they knew when he was when he was talking, they knew what time it was gonna be. Uh, they knew.
That was it wasn't Calvin Watkins. That
No.
was he's on the Cowboys.com. Uh, his name will come to me in a minute. But I wanted to get your take on the 30-year question because Jerry, he should have been prepared for that. So it's either they talked to him and he just didn't care, or they didn't prep him because he should have been ready for that answer. But he either didn't care or he just don't care and he just
Well,
done what
I
he done
think
because he blew the question.
yeah, I think what you're saying is right. I think that he don't care because his answer was saying that I have this is what his basically his answer to me was, this is why I don't care.
Yeah.
His answer was like, this is why I don't care because I've done this for 30 years. I'm cool where I'm at. I've lived the best life, and he was talking about family a lot. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got money.
Yeah, I got money. My family got money. Steven, he called Steven a big boy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was like this big boy. He called Steven a big boy. Like, how like you do your son when you call your son big boy. Like, like
Now I heard him say that, but I thought he was referring to Shotty.
either way, I thought he was referring to Steven, but just the fact that he referenced him as a child, like, this is my son, and I'm proud of him, and talking about how his wife Charlotte was like, I need to get Jerry Jr. involved more. She would always give me stuff about that, and it's just kind of like, he is an old man, and he's getting to that point to where he's like, I'm an old man, and this is
Yeah.
my life and I'm cool with it. I go to sleep with no regrets. So this 30-year drought thing for me, it's really not a big deal. And then I'm glad that Steven mentioned the fans. No, Jerry mentioned the fans at the very end. Jerry was just like, Shotty got to get this done. We believe in Shotty to get this done for the fans, for me, for us, for our family, for the fans, So I did like that to hear that from
For
Jerry
his
that he
dad.
acknowledged this. Yeah, that he for his dad. I like the fact that Jerry acknowledged us. And then I also like the fact that I was gonna name the show the Forbidden Word, the Forbidden Cowboy Word, because the Forbidden Cowboy Word is Super Bowl. When they like all of the talking heads, ESPN, all of the Cowboys antagonists, they always say, y'all think y'all gonna win a Super Bowl. Or they think they're gonna win a Super Bowl every year. So it's kind of become a thing to where it's just like Cowboy fans can't say Super Bowl, or we don't want to hear Super Bowl come from the players. But I've noticed that from a lot of the fans, I mean, from a lot of the players, they're talking about Super Bowl. That's all they're
Mm.
talking about. Shotty said it 3 or 4 times today. That's all he's talking about. I want to win the Super Bowl for my dad. These guys out here, they already got championships. I don't have one. I want to win one for the fans, for the guys,
Mm.
and for my dad. My dad will have a
Shotty
championship.
was good.
Shotty was, but
He's
Shotty,
always good. Yeah.
I was gonna say that, and I keep saying this, and I keep saying this because I stand on this because this is really happened. My first time ever seeing Shotty, my first time ever seeing Shotty do a press conference when he was an offensive coordinator, when this is his first time ever getting behind the mic. I asked you, say, who is this guy? Because this guy seems like he just like know what he talking about, and I can and I can see in my mind, I was like, I can see them liking him, and I can see him elevate. And I could see that. I could see it just by his personality, the way he was talking, the way he was answering questions. I asked you, I said, who is this guy? Who is the offense coordinator guy? Who is he? And you told me, you were just like, yeah, he ain't, no, you kind of told me who he was, and it was like, he ain't really, he just, he good at talking. You know what I'm saying? But then, that was when he first was on the staff. So after a while, I kind of started tuning Shotty out because it was just like he's really good at this. He's really good at talking. He's really good at explaining things. But then it's just like we kind of started having to ask Shotty what was happening because the offense was stalling. Offense wasn't looking good. And then, they had that meeting the first year with the 40 after the 49er game after the bye. And then all of a sudden, the team just took off. And it was just like, okay. And then Shotty was the one that broke the news, like, yeah, well, the guys came to me and we went and talked to McCarthy and what I'm saying, and some things were said and some directions that we would think the team should go and and that's what happened. That's what the switch. Shotty was the one that broke that news, that put that nugget out there. And
Mhm.
then they asked McCarthy about it. They asked McCarthy about it. I think it was Clarence Hill. I think he asked McCarthy about it at that same day. It's in McCarthy's press conference. He asked him about it, and McCarthy was just like, "Yeah, well, the guys came up to me and they told me that to let them have this, let them hold the reins," is what he said. And he said, I basically said, I mean, McCarthy said, I basically said, yeah, we can try it. If it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. I mean, I'm a try, I guess. And so, you know, shout out to Shotty for that. And then Shotty, last year, we know the story about what how Shotty was trying to implement change in the offense and how he was getting pushback from
Yeah, he
McCarthy,
got froze out last year.
which is cool because
And I was
Shotty's.
thinking today,
Mhm.
Jerry, he's still trying to go back to he wasn't all in on the Shotty hiring. And I'm saying to myself, why is he still talking about that? The guy's your head coach. You didn't pull that same mess with Garrett, Wade Phillips, or McCarthy. So what's up with him with this thing where he's still trying to remind people that Shotty wasn't his first choice and he wasn't, like
I think he's just trying to add some contrast to the whole picture. He's trying to add some flavor to it. You know, that's gonna be a saying. Like if like think about it. What would be more sexier? How we think. I mean, this is how we think. What would be more sexier as from a media standpoint? If Shotty's hosting the Lombardi Trophy, or if Jerry's holding the Lombardi Trophy, and they say Jerry did not want to hire Shotty, or they say Jerry knew all along that this was the guy. See,
yeah.
if he could spin it to where it was just like he wasn't my first choice, but that's the kind of game that you have to play when you in the NFL. You gotta always. And then Jerry's also trying to make it seem like he also wants it to be known that hey, this ain't all about me. That's what his
Well,
message was today. His message was this is not all about me. This is about we. This is Steven and me and Jerry Jr. and a lot of these guys. My family's making decisions. It ain't just me.
well, I think also what he's trying to do is cover himself. So if Shotty don't work out, it's gonna be like Steven hired him.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he's trying to set up as well. But yeah, I mean, Jerry, I mean, just what
See,
they're gonna do, they're gonna try to clean up on Al 3
see,
after
when you look,
today.
and also Jerry made a comment today that I was just like, now Jerry, now that don't we don't like that. When he made that comment, when he was just like, these other organizations, they got guys that they can just, this guy can mess up this thing right here, and then the next guy comes in and cleans it up. Talking about the cap and the management being a general manager, he was just like, there's situations in their teams that you know they can come in and they can come in behind another guy, and we have never been that type of organization in 30 years to where we have to wear it. We have to wear what we do, and it's just like Jerry. Yeah, I get that you have to wear what you do, but you haven't you haven't cleaned
Mm-mm.
up your own mess in 30
Nah.
years, so it doesn't
Mm-mm.
really pan out. That we don't like that. We want someone else to come in and clean up the mess that you've made. You know what I mean, and that you're still making
Yeah.
right now.
The media, he put some over the plate, and in some cases they didn't even try to hit the ball. They could have knocked it out of the park like this 30-year thing. They didn't follow up on that. And then the other thing is he's talking about these players getting injured after the contract. So you mean to tell me it was probably 50 people in there from the media and nobody? just thought to themselves, well, let me ask him, you signed Michael Gallup after his ACL. So that would have been just a slam dunk follow up for anybody, but they didn't say
You
it,
s-
of
you
course.
you signed Dak after he tore his leg half
Exactly.
off.
That was the other one I couldn't think. So yeah, it's just like you mean to tell me nobody followed up and asked him that?
But see, those are the problems too. That's what I want to talk to Coach Marv about. Coach Marv, it's not the problem. The problem is not well. The problem is that they're signing the players late, and that the players are saying no. It's sometimes yeah, that's a problem too. But the big problem is they signed the wrong people. They should have
Yeah.
never been signing Michael Gallup. They
They
should have
shouldn't have
never.
signed Jalen Smith.
They shouldn't have signed Zeke to a $50 million contract. Nobody else
Not
had done
not
that.
at that point.
Not at that
No.
point. Nobody else had done that. You should have
Mm-mm.
froze him out and got him a running back type of deal. That's
And
what
this
you
is
should.
going way back. Tyrone Crawford.
Yeah, they do
Um,
this. They do this, and when they do this, it has massive. We have massive repercussions.
but
It's
they'll
just
never
like
ask about it.
never ask about it. It's just like the whole Amari Cooper thing. That's why I was telling Cowboy Nation last week. It's just like when the Cowboys front office do good things happen. But when they do bad things happen. It's not no misnomer. It's just like if they have a good draft, we have a good year. If they have a bad draft, we have a bad year. It's just like, they cut Amari Cooper and signed Michael Gallup. The receiving core suffered from that point on. That's just how it went. I mean, like you didn't sign Derrick
Sign
Henry,
Gallup. It
you
was
signed
messed up.
Gallup. It's messed up. You signed Jalen Smith and LVE, and we didn't have linebackers for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And you
Sign
you
Zeke on the back nine.
you signed Zeke on the back nine last year instead of signing Derrick Henry, and all of a sudden we need a running back. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
this is not this ain't.
But what you just said right there, it's just I was gonna say amazing. It's not amazing. The media, none of those were follow up questions. So that's why I was telling you I didn't even really want to listen to the whole thing, but I listened to it. But let's talk about Micah.
Well,
So
I want to say this too
yeah,
before I lose my train of thought. These guys in the NFL, when I'm learning to understand is they are master manipulators. They a part of being in the NFL is learning how to manipulate
you
people.
talking about the owners.
The owners, the coaches, the assistants, everybody that has a powerful position, they're master manipulators. They do things to where either way, like McCarthy was the master at manipulation. He came in, he said what he had to say to win the interview. He said that he wanted to call plays, even though even though they forced Kellen Moore on him. Well, instead of him having a beef with that, he said, okay, well, we gonna do whatever we gotta do, and when it don't work, I'm gonna blame Kellen Moore. And so they did that. Okay, and so then with his last year, he's a massive manipulator. He said, "Okay, y'all don't want to give me no extra deal. That's fine. I'll play here my
I'm
last
gonna shut
contract.
down too.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut down. I'm not. These plays are gonna be trash. Y'all want to bring Zeke in here when I don't want Zeke back? I'm gonna play Zeke and show y'all why y'all shouldn't have done this."
He did
And
Mingo the same way.
Mingo the same way. He's a master manipulator. Shotty too. Shotty was just like, you know what? I tried to take over. He didn't give me no.
Yeah, he said, "I'm not training you to take my job."
Exactly. So he just like, and then Kellen Moore, he took the New Orleans job knowing that they a crazy franchise. But you know what? Kellen Moore gonna keep that job because there's no way that he can go in there and then they can say, oh, they went they went 2-16. That's not gonna be Kellen Moore fault because y'all was
Yeah.
trash. Y'all didn't do anything in the draft for him. Y'all didn't do anything, and y'all cap is horrible, and it ain't Kellen's fault. So Kellen
Yeah.
did the right thing by taking that job because it's just like this is the safest job to take because I know I learned from McCarthy that I can leave other people out to dry, and it ain't got to be me. So
Mhm.
Jerry is doing that right now. He doing the master manipulator tactic. He came in today with the media and he said, "You know what,
Mhm.
guys? Let's talk about Micah's contract. Let's talk about landfill. Let's talk about the Cowboys
He didn't fool
documentary.
anybody though.
Let's talk about the documentary." So that way, when I talk to y'all for 20, 30 minutes about the documentary, the
Yeah.
next question after that ain't gonna slam dunk me. The next question is gonna be something,
Well, no,
soft.
he didn't fool anybody.
Well, he fooled the media because they didn't ask him no crazy questions except the
Oh
ones that
well,
I normally
yeah,
do.
that's what they do. They ain't, shout out to Vach. Botch was saying they not gonna let him get in there and ask questions because they know what's gonna happen. And it was a Walker. What's his name? The reporter from .com. Man.
I'll find.
But
Damn.
anyway, he does okay. He didn't get a lot of questions today. Clarence missed. Clarence didn't. They should
No,
have been ready.
Clarence said 30-year drought.
Yeah,
That came out of his mouth.
but yeah, the contracts with Micah, they should have been ready for that. They should have all had follow up questions. They didn't, and so at the end of the day, Micah gonna get his money. He gonna get paid. He gonna be the highest paid player. That's not going to change. Now the only question is it gonna be
CJ,
next week?
Patrick, or CJ? Which one is
Yeah,
it?
Patrick Walker. Patrick No C Walker is what he calls himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of tiptoed a little bit. But yeah, it's and then the thing with Micah, Jerry. Let's be clear about something, okay? So Micah's agent, they probably was just sitting wherever they were today, laughing. I think his agent is probably out there in Oxnard. Man, they
David.
ain't. Yeah, and then you
Shout out
know,
to David.
shout out to David, and then Steven, you know, let it slip out that they got Adam Pacifica talking to Michael's agent, and that's what they normally do. And
When he
so,
said that, I was just like, man.
but
And
that's
then
what they do.
but and also that was his first time mentioning Adam like that on a
Well,
public thing.
but yeah, it's public knowledge that that's what happens. And so Jeff Kavanaugh, shout out to Jeff. He was talking about today that Adam Pacifica is a friend of theirs from Arkansas. He was a restaurant manager, so that's who they have negotiating their contracts. And
Mhm.
so Stephen was like, Jerry's doing all this talking, but Jerry doesn't really deal with the agent anyway. So I think Jerry is the one that just comes in and just okays the deal, or at some point he's gonna chime in. But man, look, Micah's agent, Micah, they not concerned about this thing. The only thing that they got to decide is if Micah is gonna do those drills. I absolutely would not. And we got to talk about Diggs too, because I was gonna bring this up with you. So this $500 fine, when you go back and look at Diggs' contract, okay, so Diggs and his brother, these guys got money. They got millions of dollars. So I think Diggs just made a decision that he wasn't going to train here. He was going to take the hit no matter what. And that's what, like Stephon Diggs wouldn't have trained here. He would have just said, I'm going to take the hit and I'm training wherever I want to train. So I think that the people are making a bigger deal out of this. And $500,000 is a lot of money. But
Mm-mm.
these guys, what was Diggs' contract? Wasn't it like 70 million?
Mm-hmm.
And he got so many guarantees. So
Oh, I was 97 million.
he knew what was going to happen with this thing.
21,
So
$21 million signing bonus for I think
yeah,
42 guaranteed.
so it's a lot of money. But Diggs and his agent, they calculated that. They knew what was going to happen. They were prepared for that. So I would be shocked if Diggs is upset about that.
You know,
We'll
I
have to
got
wait and see what he says.
something a lot to say about this.
So yeah, go ahead. And I'm
Big
reading Thomas Johnson. Appreciate you joining the show, Thomas. Go
appreciate
ahead.
you.
Go ahead and do your thing before you forget. I'm just going to read his comment to myself.
Uh, Man, let me see if I get my right. Jerry Jones is franchise mascot. No, that's a
Yeah,
my bad. That's true. And then so like no, what I was saying was really what I was saying. Really,
about Diggs. You had a lot to say about Diggs in
it
the in
really
the
makes me
fine.
yeah, it really makes me upset because it's just like, what basically like Steven today, like I said this last show. Steven today said that, they had been talked to they had been talked to Trayvon about this, and Trayvon knew that they were gonna fine him for missing, and he was okay with that because it's a part of the contract. So they've been talked about it. So my thing is this: if y'all been talked about that, then why do y'all need to smear this man and y'all keep saying things negative about his character? Like, oh, you
Well,
got to
keep it a
practice.
buck. But keep it a buck though. It was Jerry that said it. Steven didn't say that.
Jerry
But
talking about
Steven said it after he was prompted to talk about it. Steven would not have brought that up today. Jerry brought it up.
you talking about you got to be at work, right? And it's just like, but Jerry, you understand that this man is working. He's just not working where y'all want him to work. He's getting better, but he's just not getting better with with Brett Brown and them. That's it. So it's
Yeah.
just like they're talking about him as if like he just like MIA, not coming to practice. You know, they're talking about him in a negative way when it's just like, no, I just chose my doctors. It's just like it's literally like you having an HMO and you going to your PCP that you've been going to for your whole life, and then the insurance company comes back and says, you know what? We're gonna fine him because he didn't go to the doctors that's in our network. And it's just like, but so what? I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna have surgery on my leg. It doesn't mean that the surgery is not gonna be successful. It
Right.
just means that I chose another way to do this, and they
And
just
you
act,
absolutely know what's going to happen. Uh, Diggs is not going to start the season. He's going to start the season on pup.
somebody
And
said today that they don't even. Gavin said today that he don't even think Diggs will play as a Cowboy again.
I heard somebody else say that.
And that's
And
I also believe that too. I can see Trayvon coming back like game 6 or game 7 or something like that, and then being like, you know what, my toe hurt, fam. Y'all good, y'all got it.
well, I think what I had said, I think Micah, CD, Dak, if he can play, I think he's going to play. He's going to try to, he's going to play well if he plays. But the thing about it is, I don't think he's going to play until he feels comfortable with playing. So if that's game 8, game 9, that's what he's going to do. I will be stunned if he's not on pup. And then we'll just see,
No, they
what's
already
going to
said
happen
that he
from
was gonna
there.
be on pup. They said it today. They
Yeah.
confirmed it. They confirmed
Okay.
it. But
Well,
they
yeah,
said,
it's
but they said that Siobhan Rivera was not.
was not going to be on pup.
That's what they said. They said that Siobhan Rivera was not gonna start the season on pup.
Look, man. So these agents, they better understand. They better learn quick. Well, I shouldn't say that the agents know better, but these guys that are being rushed back onto the field, that's not really doing good things for your career.
They
And
said Butler and Trayvon gonna start on pup, and Siobhan
yeah,
Rivera is not.
I want to find out when his injury was. Uh, I actually follow his dad. I haven't seen him post anything in a while, but like guys like that, we talked about the moms and the dads. We're gonna be doing some mom interviews here, but when folks had a kids in these sports like this, the parents be in their ears. So Savon Ravel's dad, I'll say this: if he gonna play, it's gonna be because he's ready to play. I don't see his dad letting him get out there if he's not ready. Because I think his dad, he might have been an NFL player, but yeah, if he's gonna play, he's gonna be ready. If he's not, he's not.
And then Monica did this. Monica did text me, and she's ready. She's ready to go Wednesday.
Okay. So yeah, but yeah, these parents, whether it's the moms, the
He told
dad, or
he tore his ACL in September of
so that was the
2024.
beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. So it'll be a year. If he starts out the season, it'll be 1 year removed from the injury. And then somebody said he had a clean ACL tear, whatever that means. But look, again, I just hope he's ready to play. I don't want to see him against Philadelphia because when
Mm-mm.
he come out on the field, that's going to, good coaches, they gonna go right to the player that's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
They gonna get him
Yeah.
matched up on Brown or
That's what I was talking about that I want the Cowboys to do and that they don't do. You know what I mean? It's just like
the
situational coach.
matchups. Yeah.
Yeah, situational coaching. It's just like, listen, this linebacker cannot cover Cavante Turpin. So we're gonna do everything that we can to put him in position to every 2 or 3 plays, Cavante should be open. Or this guy right here, he cannot cover CD. Nobody on our team can cover CD. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna feature CD today.
So
Uh,
Thomas, he is becoming the mascot
oh
if
yeah,
he's
he
not there already, and
ain't
that's
no
kind of
becoming. He is the
yeah.
mascot for sure.
And just some of the stuff that Jerry says again, somebody had to prep him and give him a heads up. But what they're gonna be doing tomorrow is sort of like when Steven did the air quote thing. The next several days they had to kind of go back, clean some stuff up. He won't. I would be shocked if we see Jerry in the next few days doing another interview. But yeah,
I don't know. I feel like we will because the way that he was out there today, he was just like in his zone. He was in performance mode. So I feel
he
like,
was.
I feel
And
like,
And nobody cares about landman. You got a 30-year drought. We don't want to hear about some goofy thing you did in nobody's like, what are you talking about,
Yeah,
man?
they talking about the cartoon. Did you know that
Yeah.
you in a cartoon?
And
Like,
somebody was calling him a cartoon, and he didn't get the joke. It's like,
well,
dude, you're a cartoon. You don't
well,
understand what's happening here.
see, that's what Jerry was saying too. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care what people think about
No,
him.
he
He
doesn't.
he
Yeah.
he's cool. He didn't had his fun. He done lived his life.
Well,
He kept on talking about the documentary, and it's just like
no, I
he
told you last night. That's
yeah.
why I'm not watching it.
He kept talking about the documentary because he was just like he wants. It's like he living in the past, but then he kept saying that, oh, but I'm definitely living in the future. I want to win now, and it's all this other stuff. It's just like,
Well,
well,
he's trying to throw you off the trail of where you need to be. Talking
and
about the documentary and Landman and no, fam. You haven't made the playoff. You haven't made the NFC Championship game in 30 years. You're not getting away from that this year.
mm,
Content creators, it's on and popping. You're not gonna no, nope,
now
it's not happening.
this is what what's going to be talked about going forward. This is a 30-year drought. There's
Yeah.
nothing else. So anything else that you can say in a positive light will be overshadowed, will be overcasted with the 30-year drought theme. Y'all can hit new numbers and y'all can have a great season. If y'all don't win, if y'all don't get to the NFC Championship, then the 30-year drought is still going to exist. So really, like I said, to me, you got to win a second playoff game.
Have you heard if Micah is some conflicting reports that he's there, but he's not actually on the field?
Well, I mean, I heard that it was that wasn't nobody on the field today.
Okay, so all right.
Yeah,
So it
so I
wasn't
get
just him.
nah. I heard that we won't really know what Michael's doing until like later on in the week.
Yeah, I told you that yesterday. The first couple of days, they're probably not gonna be doing a lot.
And then also, Shotty said this too, to where I was just this is what I was saying yesterday about the whole Micah and the whole Dak thing. Like they don't really like this. It's pointless for us to talk about this if Micah is practicing or not, because it's pointless for us to talk about if Dak is practicing or not, because it's certain players that they gonna be careful with anyway. And Micah is one of those guys. If Micah had a contract, if Micah had an extension right now, he still probably shouldn't be going full throttle. It's just smart not to do so. It's smart to practice that way. It's just like Dak. Dak is gonna have a red jersey on no matter what. So it doesn't matter how hard he's
Emmy was the same way.
it's no need for Micah to practice hard. It's no need for it. Now, if he wants to do that, he's gonna do it, regardless if he has a contract or not. So
But
this is pointless to talk about because it's
but
not change anything.
I do think guys like Donovan Izuruku, Nealon, probably Dante Fowler. I don't know if they're gonna give him like the brother-in-law treatment, but I think some of those guys they do want to see them go up against Tyler Guyton because they want to see where Tyler Guyton is, and those pass rushing drills they're pretty intense. So
And this
you're
is
gonna see some of those guys going up against. They want to believe me. They want to see Steele and what he's looking like. So, but yeah, Micah probably not. Micah shouldn't.
like Micah. Like for me, like this is what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Micah ain't going hard against nobody but Tyler Guyton
Yeah,
or and Tyler Booker. That's the only people Micah gonna get in there and go hard with, and that's probably gonna be 20% of the practice. So
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if he going crazy on Tyler Guyton to try to get Tyler Guyton to be better. If he going
yeah.
crazy on Tyler Booker to get Tyler Booker ready for the NFL, it probably wouldn't be.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
definitely and we need to see Mozzie go against Tyler Booker. So those guys, they
mhm.
need to be out there getting it. But
They
yeah,
not they different. But Micah and
yeah.
CD and Dak, and we don't need to see them do nothing. But Thomas, what you said, I don't feel a passion with them either. But this is what I will say. I keep saying that the Cowboys, the players, and the coaches have to play against the front office first. We have to go against the front office. We have to play against the front office first. And I feel like this team right here is the best at doing that. I feel like Shoddy has a passion to be the best in football. I feel like we have the players like Micah that's saying, I don't care about the contract. I
Yeah,
just want to win a Super Bowl. So we have the players,
CD
CD,
and Dak.
Dak.
Yeah,
Dak. no, no, I don't care what nobody say about Dak. It's only one person that I know of that every time that they say something about losing, they say I gotta get better. They don't take no, and that's Dak. Dak always take the blame and he always say I gotta get better, even though sometimes it don't even be his fault. He always take fall on the sword and take that L, no matter what. Dak be getting charged up by his own teammates and he don't say nothing. He just take
Yeah.
the L, even though it don't be his fault sometimes. CD was going off on Dak a lot last year on the
Yeah.
sideline, cussing him out and everything. Dak didn't say nothing about that. Dak just went out there and got better.
So so I think on the defensive side, Micah, now Osa just signed a new contract. So Osa's gonna be, one of the leaders. So
But
yeah,
he
you
but
got guys.
Osa's
He play
already
hard anyway.
he's already the engine. He
Yeah.
already that. You know what I'm
And
saying?
Kenneth Murray, those guys, they gonna carry the flag. So like Shotty and his coaching staff, they ready for this. The only question about Shotty is does he have the players? That's it.
And I think and does he have the players? Let me say this. Think about this, guys. We got Jack Sanborn, Kenneth Murray, George Pickens, um, Javante Williams, um, Miles. What's his name? The
Miles
running
Sanders.
Miles Sanders. What's the other guy from the Jets? The defensive tackle,
Solomon Thomas. So
Solomon
where
Thomas.
you going is you got guys that you just think they're gonna go out there and give it their all
These
because
are
a
these
lot
are
of them they have to.
these
Like
are the,
Kenneth Murray, this his last stop.
everybody I just named. This is their last stop.
Yeah, so they gotta go out there.
Except Jack Sanborn. And Jack Sanborn
Yeah,
is a unicorn because I just don't think that people understand that that they did something when when they got Jack Sanborn, they did something that they haven't done in a long time. They got someone that is not declining off of their peak, but still hasn't reached their peak potential yet. And at
yeah,
linebacker, Jack Sanborn has not reached his potential at linebacker. The Panthers, the Chicago, they was tripping. All they fans was upset. They was calling the Chicago front office stupid
yeah,
because they let Jack Sanborn go because he was a energy player on their team. Now linebackers in general, I've only seen one linebacker in my entire watching football life that didn't hit one gap wrong all the time, and that was Sean Lee. He
yeah,
never now he was now Sean Lee was always at the right place at the right time, but he also was always hurt. So, but Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray, them hitting the wrong gap or missing an assignment, that's what linebackers do. Linebackers can't cover these receivers, even though that that's normally how it go. It'd be like,
yeah,
okay, the offense
yeah.
normally try to get a slot receiver or somebody lined up against a linebacker because generally they can't cover them. So you're gonna see
Yeah. So the question is when you guess right, what are you doing when you get there? And I think the linebackers that we have, if they hit the right gap, they're gonna play physical. They're gonna make the tackle out of the behind the line of scrimmage. The only one I have reservation on is Clark, and I just don't see Clark. When I look at Leofow, Kenneth Murray, Sanborn, um, I just don't see how Clark is gonna leapfrog them. Then you got Overshawn on deck. I don't see Clark leapfrogging those guys, but a lot of
no.
people like Clark has a following.
Well, Clark is gonna be one of them players that if he does make the team, which I feel like he will, because he's a shoddy guy. If he makes the team, um, and he'll be one of those guys that there won't be a lot of smoke and a lot of talk about him because when he does come in, he's not gonna be messing up nothing. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like how Mozzie would be if Mozzie had two or three starters in front of him. If Mozzie had two or three starters in front of him, when Mozzie came in with fresh energy, Mozzie wouldn't be messing nothing up. You
And
know what I
that's
mean?
what they need to do too, by the way. Mozzie doesn't need to be the guy. He just needs to be a
A
guy that
guy,
comes in, yeah, and gives you a certain amount of snaps.
yeah, but he
He
got
can
that
play.
pressure because he's a first round pick.
Yeah, but it's they need to like keep it a buck. They need to bring in I think they need 2-1 techs. You need
And I
a
wouldn't even cut.
starter.
I wouldn't even cut
No,
mine.
they're not gonna cut him.
No, I'm talking about like next year.
boy, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Next year,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I
I would
think
just
next year is Shotty. I mean, next year is Schoon and Mozzie, but they gonna be on watch.
Schoon might can go, but I would just say, Mozzie, you just your job was your job. First of all, you've been playing out of position your whole. You shouldn't have been. We shouldn't have
He's
picked you in the
still
first
playing
place.
out of position. This scheme is not the best scheme for him.
He should be a three tech. You know, and
Mozzie,
yeah, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying.
I've heard some people mention that too.
Why not? Why wouldn't he be a three tech? I mean, and then on top of that, he lost all that weight his first year. Which he should have been a three tech, and that should have been the end of that. He should have been a three tech, and then you go get a one tech in the draft or a free agency, and that would have been the problem solved. We would have two Osas because Mozzie would be one. If Mozzie, you mean to tell me Mozzie ain't good at nothing? He's good at something.
Well, he was good at the point of attack and just maintaining gap control. That's his game. But he,
Okay, well, he should be R3 tech that does that good. He
uh,
don't have to be a one tech because if
he-
he's a one tech, then he has to do that excellent. And if it doesn't work, then it all falls down. But if he's a three tech that's doing that on run plays, then I mean, what? Where's the problem? If you got
well,
Osa,
Greg Ellis in their show week before last, that's what he was saying. That's the problem. He's not a three tech. He's a one.
or he's not a one, he's a three.
No, no.
So
Whatever he is, he don't need to be the guy. I just think that.
that's pretty much it. Whatever it is, he don't need to be the guy. It's just like if you were offensive guard and you good, that don't mean you're gonna be good at tackle. You know,
Yeah.
just because you good at guard, it's different. It's a difference in playing center. It's a little different because it's a lot of
Mm.
things you got to do. So you can't just be a guard and then say, "Oh yeah, you're good at guard." So now we're
Yeah.
gonna put you at tackle because you're not that good. You know what I
I don't
mean?
think Tyler Smith is a tackle.
Exactly. But he can. But he's
He
service
could do it if he had to.
for sure. He's that.
And Zach
He's
Martin could too, by the way. Zach Martin, if you had to play him in tackle, he could have played a couple of games, but no,
for
he's
sure. For sure.
Smith is the same
Just
way.
like Zach Martin. If they would have told Zach Martin, if Zach Martin would have had to play center, he would have been able to do it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? So, but Mozzie ain't like that. So, you know what I'm
no.
saying? He not big enough to be a one tech. And so it's just not
But
that's
but
not his game.
Shadi today, I didn't see the visual, but to me, Shadi and Steven, they knew the mission. They knew what they had to do. They came in, they answered the questions. Shadi was great.
Like I said,
Uh,
for the first time in a long time, to me, Steven looked focused. He looked like I'm not in. I'm not here to play y'all games. Okay,
yeah. He didn't
I'm
sound that way when I listened to it, but yeah, I hear you.
and he was looking like, and I'm going to shut my dad up. My dad is talking a lot, and my dad is, my dad's Alzheimer's and all that is starting to come out. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to get a little older, so his dad would start talking, and then because they'll ask a question, and Jerry would be talking about something totally different, and then Steven would be like, yeah, and yeah, so basically, like, Steven was like, like he was cutting his dad off a lot. His dad start talking, and then Steven be like, yeah, and so what basically, we ain't gonna talk about the contract. Next question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not gonna go into that, and like, Jerry was talking about the how he don't talk to he talked to the principal. People don't even know what that means. You know what I'm saying? So, Steven was just like, so basically, Jerry don't talk to the lawyers and the
And he
agents.
called Micah Michael a couple of times.
I mean, he pronounced the L too, like
So
Michael. Come on, man.
we talked about this yesterday. I think we got a disagreement on this. So you were saying that you don't believe that the agents have been ready to move on these deals. I kind of think it's a little bit of both. I think some of these players, the way the NFL is, you one hit away. So in 2023, if you're able to make, X amount of dollars, millions,
Yeah.
they would have been okay. Dak would have signed a couple of them contracts that they had went to him earlier. I think Michael would have signed it. But
Well,
so
here's the thing. Sometimes, some players, and that's why I say it's clear that that's happening because the players that get signed early are not as good as the ones that get signed late. The ones that get signed late are always the best at their position. It's just like that. Dak I don't care what nobody say. The Cowboys losing in the playoffs is not a Dak thing. A
So
Dak could play on anybody's team right now, and he's a starting caliber quarterback. So Dak getting signed late, that probably was a
you're
little
not
bit
gonna get no pushback on that. So what do you think about Osa and Diggs, them signing? Because people feel like they left money on the table.
because they're not as good.
You like Diggs a whole lot more than, well, a lot of people like Diggs. I would
Well,
say that, and you like Diggs.
I like Diggs as a person. I like him as a player too, but I like him as a person more than anything. And I love
Mm.
his story. I like his brother. I like how they came up from nothing and how, his big brother, adopted him and how he was in high school and he was going to his brother college workouts. And, I like how he respects his brother like his father. He said that, like, my brother is like my father, like my father figure. Yeah, my brother, came and when we lost our parents, my brother came in and saved us. You know what I'm saying? So I like
Yeah,
that. I like
and
that.
that's and that's why Diggs is not thinking about Jerry.
Exactly.
First of all, Diggs done got his money.
Hmm.
He's hurt. He's got two significant. He's had MCL, ACL. I don't know if it was both,
And he knows that about himself.
and
He know
he
that,
had microfracture surgery.
and he knows that about himself. That's why he
So
was just like,
those are two injuries. When you look at historical injuries, those are two injuries that, like, back in the day, people like Gale Sayers, Terrell Davis from the Broncos. Terrell Davis, he didn't play like way back in the day, but that injury really ended his career. And then
you know,
microfracture surgery, guys just don't come back from that. Anthony
man,
Spencer, that's what ended his career. Anthony Spencer was a good player.
it was. When I think about who you just named for the Broncos, I'd be like, man, I just remember that being catastrophic when he tore his ACL and
And
MCL.
Gale Sayers played 6 years. He played 8. And
That was
a lot of people were saying that he didn't deserve to be in a Hall of Fame. They were saying that about Gale Sayers, believe it or not. But Gale Sayers just played 6 years.
hmm.
That's it.
Well,
But
that was
he
good.
was like, his 6 years was like, you ain't seen nothing like it. And Terrell Davis, John Elway doesn't have a ring if he doesn't get drafted by him in the 6th round, by the way. But his
Yeah,
8 years, you know, he
yeah.
was
I mean,
just,
he was one of them ones for sure. But when I think about him, I think about ACL, MCL, and how it was just major news back then that was a career-ending injury for him.
yeah. And
So,
so now the technology, you can recover from it,
yeah,
but you don't do it in 1 year. Now, this will be Diggs' second year. Now, the microfracture, like I said on our show before, I actually had that procedure, and it was a year. And I told a story about, my grandson, your son. When I was coming off my microfracture surgery, he was doing that thing where he was like a 1 or 2 year old and he'd be in the backyard and you didn't know which way he was gonna go. I had to like just turn my whole body to catch him. I couldn't cut.
yeah,
He was
nah.
like he was gone. I had to just like, hey, okay, I gotta just turn my whole body to get him.
So think about this. We know when some athletes get hurt, they have that Michael Irvin mentality. They have that Demarion Overshawn mentality, and some players don't. And Diggs is
So
one of those players that don't.
I
You
don't
know,
want Overshawn to rush back too. I think he might be rushing back.
and he just got that mentality. We knew he was gonna do that. That's why I say, I'm having this thing to
Man,
where I'm saying to myself, like, hey, when we know things are gonna happen, it's no point of us even, getting that rush of adrenaline or anxiety.
I don't know who his agent is. I know he got a big family, but man, they should be talking to him like, dude, you are not going to Thanksgiving though. Thanksgiving, you got a Thanksgiving. I think when you play Thanksgiving, you have 6 games left. I like that,
Yeah,
but they're talking about sooner.
yeah, he
So
gonna be back around like week 3 or 4.
no, man, no,
I can tell you
no
that's
way,
gonna happen. Now, what's gonna
man,
happen is he gonna suit up on them games. He not gonna play a lot, but he gonna play on. He gonna be suiting up around week three
man.
or
Ain't
4.
no
Watch.
way in the world he should be playing by week 3 or 4.
That's
No,
what they gonna do. He
no,
said that he was ready to go now. That's what he said.
no. Mm-mm.
He said that. He said that's a while back too. He said that a while back. He was like, yeah, if I could, if we had to play a game today, if my life is on the line, could I play? I absolutely could.
Yeah, that'll be just really jacked up if he does. Hopefully he doesn't. So we can go ahead and wrap because I gotta like do this call, and I gotta eat.
Oh yeah, dang. I was gonna play one of these things, but we can go ahead and wrap up.
We're gonna be on tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll play that tomorrow. We'll probably have some more cuts from the thing tomorrow too. So, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. It was an interesting day, and this is just the first day of camp. This was interesting. We still got meat on the bone. We can still talk for an hour, and that was just off today. So you can only imagine what the rest of this week and for the rest of the season is gonna be like. This is gonna be an interesting season. Cowboys Nation. I keep telling everybody, this is an entirely new team. They got new coaches. They got a new head coach. They got a new philosophy. They got a new offensive coordinator. They got a new defensive coordinator. They got a new offensive line coach. They had a good draft. They went out in free agency and got like a number one receiver in George Pickens. They went out and they did a lot of things on defense. This is gonna be a different type of year just based off of that alone. So this is gonna be interesting. So y'all know we rocking to the wheels fall off. So y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe and share. I did see yesterday's video got shared twice or three, four times more than any other video we've done. So we appreciate that. So keep
Appreciate
sharing.
you, Thomas,
Appreciate you,
and
Thomas, for checking in.
our pole mark Stephen Opuzor. He's gonna be
Shout out
one.
to
He's
you.
gonna be one of the greats,
Hey,
Dallas
there you go.
alumni.
There you go. Shout out to you, Mr. Steven. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe and share, and we'll